Welcome to part 2 of Growing Your Own Transplants at Home, and I'm Gary Heilig. I'm a retired horticulturist from Michigan State University Extension, and today we're talking about containers. And the container is very important for growing your transplants, and if you go down to a greenhouse, you're normally going to find something like this. They're plastic flats that have individual cell packs in them, and you can buy these at local hydroponic stores, and I believe these flats for, let me see here, $1.34 a piece, and then the inserts were 89 cents a piece, so you do have some money involved in buying these. The good thing is they can be reusable if you're careful. Don't leave them outside in the sunlight because the plastic will become brittle and you won't be able to use them. If you are going to use these containers, it's always a good idea to try to clean them first, wash out all the extra dirt, and what I will do sometimes if I've had a problem with something called damping off, which we'll talk about in another video, I will try to sterilize these with a 10% bleach solution. It doesn't always work, but I will soak them for about 15-20 minutes and I keep the disease down. Now another thing you can do when you're germinating your seeds is you can buy tops. These are plastic tops. They have the short ones like this that fit right on top of your flat. And then the other thing you can do is buy the high ones. Most of the time you won't need these, but they have vents on the side and on the top. And you can put them right on top. This is good if you're going to propagate something because it keeps the humidity quite high in there. Now, these are not that cheap. This one has turned a little bit yellow. It's over a year old, so sometimes the plastic will turn a little bit yellow. This is probably about $4 or $5 for the top, and you can see that your costs can go up quite quickly when you're buying these types of things. Some other things that you can buy are compressed peat containers. These are called Jiffy Pots. These are 4-inch. So if you want to grow something and you don't want to disturb the root system when you transplant it, these are good. Although when you use these and you transplant, you can put the whole thing in the ground, but be sure that the top rim is below the ground surface, because if not, it can actually dry out the roots because you have a wicking action as this peat is exposed. And then the roots will just grow right out. And they have different sizes. This is a group of, looks like 10. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So there's about 50 containers here. And I don't remember what this was. I don't see the price on here, but you know, there's some expenses. Then we have these type of peat pots. These are expandable. You put them in water and wait about 15 or 20 minutes and they expand up to about 1.5 inches. And these are also for seedlings that don't like to have their roots disturbed, like for instance melons and squash and those types of things. I have one in water, but it hasn't been long enough. Now, not everybody wants to go out and buy these things, and if you want to try to decrease your cost, there are a number of things out there that you can use to start plants in that will work just fine. For instance, here are 2 great containers in my opinion, and these are mushroom containers. So when you buy fresh mushrooms, you can save these containers, but you'll notice they don't have holes in the bottom for drainage. So if you're not very careful with your watering, you can drown your plants. So if you're kind of heavy-handed when it comes to watering, you might want to put some holes in the bottom and set them on some type of gravel tray so water can drain out of the bottom. But these are things that you would normally throw away. My wife likes to use these as dividers and drawers, and they can be used for a number of different things. If you go to Wendy's, which I do every now and then, you buy salad. Both the salad and baked potato containers are great for growing things. Again, you have to put holes in the bottom. This is the salad container, and I kept the top. And so this could be a very good way to start some young seedlings. And normally you'd start those seedlings and then transplant them out once they got large enough. And this is the baked potato one. So most of the time people are just throwing these away, and these are firm enough that you can use them for years. Another thing, Taco Bell. This is from one of their taco salads, and again, a nice plastic container with a top on it, and it can be used to start seedlings. You don't necessarily have to use the top on it, but if you don't want to water as much, especially if you have very tender small seeds that take a while to germinate, you can use this. But sometimes it might even be necessary to put just a few holes in the top too, because if the humidity gets too high in there, you can start to get various fungi growing on the surface. of the soil. Now this one probably isn't as good, but this is a package from a cookie container. I think this was Pecan Sandies. And you could start some plants in here. It would be a short-term type of thing, and it's probably only good for 1 year. But this is something that you can use also. And then of course you can buy these containers that have the peat pellets in here, and you just soak them with water and expand them. So there are lots of things that you can use, and sometimes greenhouses will throw out various things. These are some things that I saved from some visits, and or from some plants that I bought from greenhouses. And the plastic is thick enough to where it can be used for many years. Normally I would start seedlings in here, and once they reach a certain size, they would be transplanted into individual pots or into the flats with the cell packs in them. So those are just a few things that you can use as containers. Some people will use plastic pots that they get flowers in to start tomatoes. Individually, it depends on how much space you have in order to do that. But there are many things out there that you can grow plants in without spending a lot of money. But you can also buy the same things that the greenhouse growers use. So if you're thinking of growing some seedlings this year, save some of these containers, wash them out, stack them, put them in the basement until you're ready for them, and use them to get your garden started.